Good morning. We are live, or at least we should be. Another day here in Bangkok. It's Friday morning, the 21st of January, and today, actually not today, but 10 days from now, it's a big day here because things are changing again, and they're changing for the better. So we'll get into that in a moment. Today is also a good day because the baht is over 33 to the dollar again, 33.03 to the dollar. It is currently 78 degrees. There's a high of 82, high of 82 degrees here. That's pretty low. Low of 75, and the feel-like temperature, good morning, Jim, good morning, everybody. The feel-like temperature is 78. There is a 90% chance of rain, and I have to tell you, I was out with my wife this morning on our morning walk, and we did one lap around the park. Started pouring rain, and we had to stop for about 10-15 minutes until the rain stopped. Apparently it's supposed to rain all this week, but today it is a bit cloudy. It's starting to clear up just a little bit, but you can see the clouds off in the distance. So today's probably going to be a rainy day, and that's just fine with me. We could use some rain. 82% humidity, winds 2 miles an hour, north-northeast, and the air quality is a crappy 114, which is unhealthy for sensitive individuals. So if you got bad lungs, Bangkok is not the place for you right now. And it's a recurring theme here about the traffic pollution. These are the worst things about Bangkok, but there are some workarounds. You have to wear a mask out right now, so it kind of helps with the pollution, but that's no consolation. But the traffic, there are workarounds. There's the BTS and the MRT and the boat. There's many methods to get around. And so that's what's great about Bangkok, the transportation system. But anyway, before I get started, thank you to everybody. You guys are the ones who help support this channel. Everybody who watches, you're the ones who support the channel, so thank you. Do me a favor, if at any time you feel like you like this channel or the stream, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and check down in the description at all the ways you can help support the channel. There he is, the world traveler. He's chomping at the bit. Andy Stubbs. How you doing, Andy? Let me just do something here real quick. Where's my producer when I need him? Oh, he's sleeping. That would be my son Alex, who doesn't produce a whole lot right now when it comes to my channel. Well, actually, things are getting better, and I try to really look at things from a very real perspective, and I honestly, as I said yesterday, I think that things are getting better, and I think it's just a matter of time now. What happened here? Just do this real quick, and we'll be all set. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that things are getting better here unless I really believed it, and I do think slowly but surely, just like the title of this stream says, Yeah, but you didn't have to. Well, you could have canceled. Yeah, that's right. Because you can change hotels from the first day to the, um, to the fifth. Now, the testing instead of just doing it on the first night. However, I tell you what, I don't know how much did your hotel cost you, Andy. Curious to know. Because I was talking to my wife this morning, and she said that business is still down, and the reason is because people don't want to pay the money for the special hotels. Because it's 4,000 or 5,000 baht per night, and now instead of one night, it's 2 nights. So, we're still not there yet, but I do think maybe they're starting to, the people in charge are starting to see the light. And, that some changes have been made. So, we're, like I said, the first night in ASQ is $250, which is about 8,000 baht. A little more than 8,000, but that's a lot, man. That really is a lot. What about you don't know the second one yet, or? And some of it is the transportation, but still, it's ridiculous, that you have to pay that much. But this is the way of the world, unfortunately. And that is better than doing 14 days, pick up and test, and 1 night stay. Yeah, but you also have to, wait a minute, pick up and test. But what about what about the day 5, day 6? That's what I'm wondering about. Let me see if I can get this here, because something's wrong here on my computer, like always. A little issue. Let's see if I can fix it. Yeah, I think I can. There we go. All right. All done. Now you have my undivided attention. Yeah, I mean, first of all, how many stars was that hotel? And second of all, what about the day 5? Because, that's a hell of a lot of money. Just to stay for 1 night. And I mean, granted, you got to take the test, it's the hospital, it's transportation. But I don't know. That's not really enticing to tourists. But again, most of the people that are like in this chat, they're not first timers. They're not people who are like, do I need a visa to go to Thailand? Or something like that. They're just not that inexperienced, most of the people. Not that there's a problem with that people being in the chat like that, but it seems like the really inexperienced people do not want to go. Second test, hotel can't do yet. Test and go suspended for testing. Actually, I think it is at this point, but I'm not sure. Let me see here. I thought that they had... Thailand reinstates test and go entry effective February 1st. Thailand's COVID-19 task force has approved the reinstatement of the quarantine-free test and go entry program for vaccinated travelers, with new arrivals and entry clearance applications to be accepted from February 1st. So you should be good to go. I don't know how they're working it with people who have done it beforehand, but let me read on here. This is from the National News Bureau of Thailand. The Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration yesterday approved the reinstatement of the test and go entry scheme for international visitors. Travelers applying for test and go entry clearance must prepay for their hotel rooms, which shall include 2 RT-PCR tests. Thai authorities will be working to improve the tracking system to ensure all visitors comply with the second post-arrival test requirement, with the Mochanak contact tracing application now required to be installed on their phones. You know, I installed that way back when they first came out with it, and like that same day, I deleted it, and I've never put it back on my phone. And I just have a problem with them telling me I must do this, but what are you going to do? You know, you don't have much of a choice. You want to come in, you're going to have to do it. Also, the emergency decree has been extended for another 2 months now through the 31st of March. Orange control areas are now reduced to 44 provinces from 69, while the yellow alert level is applicable to 25 provinces. Effective from 24th of January, more relaxed restrictions will be applied in yellow zones, with restaurants certified with either the SHA Plus or the Thai Stop COVID 2 Plus. Jesus Christ, they got so many names for these things. Standard, allowed to sell alcohol. Restaurants in the blue special tourism areas will be allowed to sell alcohol for an extra 2 hours until 11 p.m. from the current 9 p.m. deadline. So, you know, I wish I could say, wow, that's so wonderful. Yeah, I guess, like I said, we're inching closer towards the past. More tourism industries will be introduced to sandbox areas, namely Banlamung district of Pattaya, Sriracha, Kosichang, and Sattahip districts of Chonburi, as well as Koh Chang in Tran. Visitors arriving in the sandbox area will be required to take RT-PCR tests on day 1 and day 5 or 6 after the arrival. They will stay within the sandbox areas for 7 days. So there you go. That is a big step, though. However small we think it is, just them making this step forward is a big step. Yeah, I would assume that things will be better at least in the next day or so, Andy. Do you have any idea when they might drop the mask wearing rule? No, I have no idea. And quite honestly, I don't think they're going to drop it until some of these stipulations are done with. They may drop the outdoor. I don't see them dropping the indoor anytime soon. I mean, we might be required to wear masks inside of a shopping mall or grocery store for another year or two. I mean, I need to mark this day and see how long. Outdoors, I don't know. That could fade away. They're complaining about, in Phuket, the authorities are complaining that tourists are not abiding by the rules. They're not wearing their masks. And who wants to wear a mask outdoors on the beach or walking along on the boardwalk? Who wants to do that in the heat? That's not why they came to Phuket. And I understand you got to be safe. Well, if you don't want to abide by the rules, don't come. Okay, I understand that. But then understand from the viewpoint of the tourists, and I think they're pretty. They're really trying hard to make sure that the tourists know, hey, you have to wear your mask. These are the rules that we've come up with. The authorities are pretty tolerant here, at least compared to other places that I've seen, like Australia, the UK, United States, Until you get a local number, yeah. Well, that's easy enough. So I will need a SIM as soon as I arrive to use the app. Actually, I don't know, because you could feasibly use Wi-Fi, but they may ask you to put in a phone number, and in that case, then you're going to need the phone number, the SIM card. Why ask why? Why not just 5-day quarantine on arrival in a hotel versus the new test and go. Doesn't make sense. A 5-day quarantine, because after the first day, when you test negative, you go wherever you want. You just have to test on the 5th day, so that's 2 days versus 5. Why would you bump it up to 5? And why would you ask people to stay in a hotel for 5 days when they can go out? You know. I mean, I'm looking at an article right now about Phuket taking stronger action against the tourists in Phuket who are not wearing their mask. They're vowing to take decisive legal action against tourists who fail to wear a face mask in public, saying failure to comply with the disease control requirement is rampant in the island province. Visitors will be arrested and prosecuted. There will soon be an operational team formed to enforce the rule. Local police will take the lead at key locations, including Soi Bangla and Patong areas. The government issued an order for people to wear a face mask when they go out unless they are eating, drinking, or exercising. Now, this brings me to a point I was thinking of, because when I'm walking back from, say, the park, or when I'm walking around, and I'm not talking about I'm walking like down the street to go to 7-Eleven or something. I'm talking about when I'm going for a walk. You know, that's exercise. When I go out to the park and I go for a walk, I walk to the park now. And when I'm walking back, I'll walk back from the park. That's exercise. I'm exercising. So I don't have to wear a mask. I mean, you can frame it that way. So then, you know, if that's the case, then why is it that when you're outside, if you're like, I don't know, sitting at the bus stop and the bus stop doesn't have any people on it, why are you supposed to be wearing a mask? Doesn't make sense to me, you know. But then again, a lot of things don't make sense for me. No, Thais, anybody who is here can travel, or who is here already, like myself. If I wanted to go to Phuket, I can just go. I don't have to. There's no quarantine for me or anything like that. Now they may ask, and I suppose that flying there, they will ask me for proof of vaccination and proof that I've been in the country. But if I have just come in, they may say, okay, well, where's your quarantine paperwork, or where's your Thailand Go, you know, what is it, the hell is it, Go and Pass, or whatever, Pass and Go, Test and Go. They may ask for that paperwork, and if I say, well, I don't have it because I've been here, you know, I haven't left the country in, now it's been two years and like 2 months. I haven't gone out of the country. So no, you don't, you know, if there's a Thai in the country, they don't need to stay in some sandbox area, and you know, they're not allowed to come out until 7 days has passed. So it's good for people like me, although it is still a bit risky, you know, if somebody tests you. Violation of the order that you must wear a mask carries a penalty of up to 20,000 baht under the Communicable Diseases Act, plus a fine of up to 40,000 baht and or a jail term of up to 2 years under the executive decree on public administration and emergency situations imposed to control COVID-19. And you might think that that's a bit strict. Now, I haven't heard of anybody getting a total of a 60,000 baht fine. I haven't heard of anybody, read of anybody, not one person. I've heard of somebody getting a 2,000 baht fine, and I heard of another person being deported. But that could have been something completely unrelated that led to that. But the reason they have this in place is that so people just don't flaunt the law, Could Sakat you have COVID or not? I haven't tested one time, and I'm not gonna if I can help it. Yes, Jim. But I don't know why you wouldn't just use. I don't know why you wouldn't just use the test and go. You're in a hotel for one night, and then you can come out. Then you have to go back on day 5 or 6 and make sure you're in a place where you're going to be able to get tested. But other than that, you can be with your family for the interim. There's no problem. And then you're not required to stay for 7 days. You can go wherever you want after that 5th day. All the new tests will have to have both ASQ paid for on the Thai Pass. I'll have to have a copy of my second pay. That's right. Yes. And that's I don't know what Chucky did, how he went about doing that. I should have asked him that, but I'll ask him. I should see him in a few days. But he came in and he stayed in a place, and he said that place was expensive. He moved to another place, and that was less expensive. I don't know if they did the actual test for him, but I don't think so. Why would he have to cancel his trip? The test and go for people you were still allowed to use the test and go if you already went through the procedure and been approved. And now what they're saying is February 1st. So let's see. Now, again, the drinking time. I don't think you're going to need a backup plan, honestly. Unless something changes, yeah, okay. But once you get the test and go, you're good to go. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to say, oh, you got the test and go. And you see, they didn't do it the last time. They thought about it, and then they went, no, we don't need to do that. So the people who had already, I don't know why that matters. I mean, it's going to have to be like some kind of you're going to have to stay at a hotel. So as long as you can find a hotel that's close by, I'm assuming because you want to be near near your wife and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many hotels they have. I'm not a real big hotel person, and especially when it comes to this stuff, because I just don't need to, most of the time, unless I'm traveling, I don't need to stay in a hotel. Like here, I don't need to stay in a hotel. But the day 5 test requirement, too much risk of quarantine, and most insurance does not pay if you're asymptomatic. Well, that's the other thing. Don't get the insurance if it's if it doesn't cover asymptomatic. Don't get it. Get something else. Find something else. My insurance pays if I'm asymptomatic. It just pays if I'm in the hospital being diagnosed with COVID, whether I have symptoms or not. So I would say pick your insurance carefully. Pick your insurance carefully. Pick your hotel carefully. Yeah, so don't get travel insurance. Get something else. Get some temporary insurance. There are COVID only insurance, John. There are many different kinds of insurances because I know our family has different insurance. I have different insurance from my wife and my kids, and one of my buddies has a different insurance. He went to get the insurance that I have, and they no longer have it. They no longer will allow you to get it. So he had to get something a little bit different. They had a different plan. It was a little more expensive because, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people filing claims. But there is COVID-only insurance. You just have to look around. So, I mean, you know, and that's the thing. Like my wife was saying, hey, our insurance covers the COVID, and then we have COVID insurance, and that's, for me, that's good through April of this year, and then I'm probably going to try to renew it or find another insurance company. Not a lot of ASQ hotels in my neck of the woods. Yeah, I mean, you know, then you're going to have to get one find the closest one, you know. I mean, they don't care about, you know, Joe's or Jim's problem or desire to be close to us. They don't care about that. All they care about is doing what they feel you have to do, and it doesn't matter if it fits your criteria or not. It's typical government bureaucracy. You know, they're trying to appeal to the masses, and as John is saying, how many people want to do this? I mean, it is a small step, but for them, this is think about it, for them to say, we're doing away with the test and go, and then I don't know how long it's been, a few weeks, to revert back and go, okay, we're going to do it, but we're going to change it to where you got to have 2 tests, which I don't understand that. Especially when Chuck tells me that the lady didn't even stick the Q-tip in his nose. She just rubbed it around the outside of his nose. The other thing, though, John, is that you know, think about something. There are people who have the money, and they're going to be staying for, say, a month or 2, and they have the money, and they're patient. And this is somebody like Chuck. Somebody like Longhorns, somebody like Soy Dog Cowboy, although he doesn't want to go through the hassle, and I understand that. You know, there are people like that. They want to come here, and they're like, you know what, if I got to go in for two nights, I'll go. And they're not really, especially if you're vaccinated, a lot of people are thinking, what's the worst that's going to happen to me? Now, you know, listen, if you got to go to quarantine and they go, oh, you're in quarantine for 14 days, it's going to cost you a bundle. But if your insurance does cover it, it's not going to cost you all that much. So, yeah, it's a risk, and you can lose time and all that kind of stuff. And I agree with that. I wouldn't do it. But there are some people that will. So, and especially now, they're starting to allow people to drink a little bit longer, which, you know, to me is not, that's not a big deal. I understand that, but, you know, John, it's like one step at a time. They're not going to just, as much as I wish they would do this, they're not just going to say, okay, everything's done. Everybody, it's back to normal. Everybody come on in. You want to come here, come here. It's not going to happen. Now, something else to think about, and I talked about this yesterday briefly, and that is about next year's elections. Because, okay, granted, let's hope that this is not still continuing next year after the elections. But this guy, Tamanat, he left the party, he left Prayut's party, and he's taken 20 other ministers with him, and it greatly weakens Prayut's position, and now there's a new party, this Tamanat's he's starting a new party, and he is more of a threat now. And so, who knows what's? This is the thing. It's like, oh yeah, you know, we want this guy out. We want Biden out. We want Pryute out. Okay, but now what's next? Hopefully, it's somebody better, not worse. But man, I mean, you know, like this is something people are not really thinking about it yet. But I'm thinking about it just because I'm like, man, what's going to happen afterwards? You know, what is going to happen afterwards? Are they going to start to try to cater to the... They're not really catering to the mainstream right now. They're trying to cater to people who have money. And I don't think they're quite there. The quality has not improved up. I wouldn't go that far, John. More variants are going to happen, okay, and more people will be vaccinated, and I don't think it's going to go on year after year after year. I don't think it's going to happen. It's I don't want to say it's impossible because nothing's impossible, but it's highly unlikely. Because first of all, people will start to go berserk. I mean, they're already going nuts, but people will start to go berserk because they can't make ends meet. Now, I have to say something. Somebody I know told me that they work with, this is not my wife, but they work with a number of hotels. And the hotels, what's happening now is the hotel owners in the smaller hotels, the hotel owners now, they're like, listen, we got to cancel all contracts. We don't want to have to pay anything back. We owe money, but you're going to have to let us slide. And they're doing everything they can to get out of paying because they don't have the tourists. They don't have the money coming in. And as I said in the very beginning, and I said this a long time ago, what is the big threat here in Thailand is not that the tourists won't come back. All right, maybe you won't get as many tourists. For whatever reason. But what happens if 50% of all the hotels shut down? They're not open anymore. All these tourist establishments, they go to shit because there's not enough money to maintain them. So that's the way I look at it. If this goes on, even the way that it is right now, and it opens up a little bit, and this goes on for another 2-3 years, yeah, things are dead. It's never going to be the same, or it will take many years. Never say never. It will take many years to rebound. If they get things going in the next few months, and you start to see a real influx of tourists, well, then things should get a lot better real quick. I think now people have been getting by on far less than before. So when the tourists come back, they're going to be golden once, if they come back in mass. Yeah, 18%. That's about right. That's what I've heard. And, my wife works in the industry, and she tells me all the time, and, she says, oh, we get bookings, and then as soon as something happens, boom, they cancel. And that's it. It's done. You got I don't know how many thousands, but maybe the hotels would be 50% full, 40% full, and then a couple of comments, a couple of changes, and then you're back down to 20%. We've been talking about Mexico quite a bit. My only thing about Mexico, and I know Mexico has changed since I've been there, because it's been many years since I've been there. I did used to go all the time. I mean, when I lived in California, and I've been to many places. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Choke D to you. I've been to many places in Mexico. I've been to Juarez, which is on the border of El Paso, which is one of the most dangerous cities. And I remember this is 1981, so that's about 40 years ago. And it was dangerous then, and then it started getting more and more dangerous, and people were dying. But I used to go there with my buddies on weekends and stuff, and it was crazy. And then what's the place? Shit, it's not Ensenada. Tijuana. Thank you very much, John. I will. Tijuana. Used to go to Tijuana all the time. Been to Ensenada. Been to Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, Cabo San Lucas. And I remember Mexico, and I like Mexico. I don't know that Mexico has the same charm as Thailand. Say what you will, but once you get into the mix here, once you get through all the bullshit, all the paperwork. I say bullshit, but you get through the red tape. Once you get through it, and you're inside the country, I haven't had any real issues with, sir, could you please put your mask on? Sir, you don't have your mask high enough, or, sir, can you show me your vaccine tests or any? I haven't had any issues like that. And the Thais tend to be very polite. They're not they're not rough when it comes to the people that they're dealing with. They tend to try to be very polite in how they approach them. And if you've ever seen in here in Starbucks, in the beginning, and I'm sure there's some people who remember, but there would be people sitting, and they still have them, the little green stickers that say, social distancing, this table, don't sit at this table. I don't know what it says, I can't see it over there. And people would sit down next to each other, and they would be sitting, like 3 people at a table, and you're not even supposed to be sitting at the table. And, some of the Thai girls or one of the manager or whatever would walk up and say, excuse me, but, because of the rules, can you please separate and move a little bit apart? They would be very, very polite about it. I don't know, I know Mexico, the people are very nice, and, you can get some, there's great food there. I was thinking, one thing I don't know about Portugal, and I haven't looked into it too much, is the food. I'm going to assume the food is pretty good there. But that's one thing that Thailand has over just about everywhere, is that their food is fantastic, and it's a great value for the money. So yeah, that's something to consider. But I would say Mexico is, just from what I remember and what I see and hear, it is a bit more dangerous. And my buddy Steve was there for, I don't know how long, 6 months or so. And he actually said that, nobody got on anybody about the masks and going in places, or walking around places rather. He said sometimes he'd be walking around, and the only people who were giving him a hard time about not wearing a mask, who actually said anything, were Americans. That was it. So, I'm not completely sold on Mexico. There are some fantastic places. There's some fantastic beaches there. There's really good food. I love Mexican food. And it's right up there with Thai food, in my opinion. But I don't know that that's the answer. I'd say maybe for Americans it is, at least temporarily, because it's so close. They don't have to worry. It's like, hey, it doesn't cost me much to go there, It doesn't have the same kind of scene that that like Thailand has. Hey, Fred. Yeah, I never thought of that, to be honest, but once in a while I go into some place and they say, sir, can you please take your mask down, to match up my face with the ID. This is another thing. Today I was on my walk, and I just walked out of the park. I didn't have my mask on. And I'm like, I'm not putting my mask on. Because I'm walking out, and it's hot. It's not that hot, but it's still warm. I don't want to be wearing a goddamn mask because I can't breathe. There's nobody around. It's me and my wife, right? We're the only ones walking. There's nobody on the sidewalk. Nobody there. We're walking, and we walk by this bus stop, and this lady walks by, and she was one of those ones. Now she was a little bit older, so you got to cut her a little bit of slack, but. She had 2 masks on, and she had the plastic shield on her over her face. And I'm like, there's nobody standing next to you. I mean, you got the shield on. I don't know. Like to me, it's a bit overboard now at this point. I just don't get it. And I try to think you see, I don't know what the rule is in Mexico if it's mandatory that you have to wear a mask when you're outside. I thought it was only inside. If it was outside, I would have second thoughts about going there. My condo will not allow you to leave the premises without a mask. Well, what fucking business is it of theirs? Really, what business is it of the condo establishment there? The condo owners or whatever it is, the association. What business is it of theirs if you have a mask on your person when you're leaving? What about if you just go right out to your car and you get in the car? I get a kick out of seeing somebody driving alone and they got 2 friggin' masks on. I'm like, what are you worried about? At this point, you're going into a grocery store and there's a lot of people. Okay, I understand, they want to be safe. Okay, I can get it. It's, to me, I think it's still a bit overkill, but okay, it's reasonable. People are not meant to wear masks every day of their life, everywhere they go, And, you just hark back to the doctor who said, when you have sex, you should be wearing a mask. And I'm like, how's that work? Or you're not allowed to face each other while you're having sex. Yeah, I just have a real problem processing that. Wearing a mask outside, and it's like you're at the park and you got people jogging and they got 2 friggin' masks on and they're sweating their asses off. I'm like, how healthy is that to be wearing a mask? 2 masks in some cases. Beautiful park. I mean, listen, we go early in the morning, so there's not many people. I mean, like, sometimes we're walking along, we walk all the way around the park, there's not one person that goes by us. We might see 1 or 2 people, that's it. By the time we leave, the place is starting to pick up. But still, like, okay, it's 5:30 in the morning. Why do you gotta have two masks on with a facial shield? Oh, man. And there's nobody around you. I mean, I try to just go with the flow just because I don't want to deal with the hassle, because I'm scared of how I'll react if I get pissed off about some situation. I don't want to get pissed off. I don't want to get pissed at somebody because, oh, sir, you put your mask on. Wait a minute, I'm in a park. I'm exercising. I don't have to have a mask on. And somebody was push me, I would get pissed. The air quality today, Gennaro, is 114 here in Bangkok, which is unhealthy. Now, that is one positive of wearing a mask when you're outside. Here in Georgia, Tbilisi, Georgia, arrive with a vaccine card, wear mask indoors, show vaccine card at bar, restaurant, mall. Jesus Christ, gym, pool, bar, open, reasonable. Yeah, I don't know about showing the vaccine card and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, listen, at this point, today I did not, this is the first time I didn't bring my wallet. I didn't bring a credit card. I didn't bring a debit card. I didn't bring anything. Didn't bring anything with me. I got my phone. went to up here to the cashier, just told them, let me pay with the QR code. I know I'm on with the QR code. Yeah, it may have been a law before to wear a mask while driving, but it damn sure shouldn't be now. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Well, that's another thing. I mean, when are we going to wake up and go, listen, the 86-year-old woman passed away and she had, I don't remember what her disease was. She had some kind of illness, ongoing illness, long-term illness. And she caught the COVID and then, you know, she passed away. Now, who's to say, well, the COVID killed her? I don't think so. I think it was the old age combined with everything else. I can tell you, I don't know what's going on over there. They're both rolling on the floor. Well, I mean, listen, my parents are older. They just don't go out that much. But they weren't going out that much anyway. You know what I mean? And they don't have a problem. They're like, listen, we're older. If we want to be safe, we'll wear our mask. It's very simple. They're not pissed off if somebody doesn't wear a mask. They're not getting in their face. Oh, you need to wear a mask. No, they want to wear a mask because they're older. They're taking care of themselves, you know, and they're all vaccinated. They're good to go. I think that's reasonable. Okay, you know. Now, but if you're walking outside and there's nobody around and you got a face shield on and gloves, I've seen that too. I always laugh about, you know, people that are wearing gloves inside of the grocery store. The requirement in Manila for a motorbike is to have plastic dividers between riders. That's ridiculous. Now, I believe I put it up in the community tab where I got it, and it's actually happened twice now. I always get into the, you know, in Thailand, they're sitting on the right-hand side. I get in on the left-hand side and sit on the left-hand side. So I'm at an angle to them. But 2 times now, there's been a guy who was sitting in his seat and there was plexiglass from the seat, from the roof all the way down and all the way around the seat. The only way to get him his money is to put your hand, there's a little slot, you can put the money under there's a little opening, you put your hand through there and that's how you get him the money. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I would understand if this is kind of like something like Ebola or something where, you know, like if somebody breathes in your direction and just a little minute particle made you start bleeding out from your asshole and any kind of a cut and orifice that you might have on your body, I would understand being fearful then. But that's not what happens here. Well, I think, Fred, Jesus Christ. Don't ever think that Thai women are they're quiet and meek, because they're not. Just found another site for ASQ. Yeah, there is more than one, Andy. There is more than one way to skin a cat or to get into Thailand. Okay, give us your conspiracy theory. I know it's all a big conspiracy. They're all out to get us, the whole world, everybody. They're not smart enough to do that. I hate to tell you that. The Chinese couldn't have produced a vaccine. They can barely, think about it. Some of them, they got toilets where they just shit and stand, they take a shit and they get up and pull their pants up with a shitty ass. Does that seem like the kind of people that are going to prepare some kind of a vaccine that's going to kill the world and get the whole world against each other? I don't think so. No offense to the Chinese out there. I know it's not everywhere, but like, I was watching a little bit of An Idiot Abroad the other day, and I saw Carl Pilkington talking about the Chinese toilets, which brings back memories for me since I had a little incident. And he actually said, I walked into one of the toilets and there's two guys and they're just like squatting over the toilet, taking a dump, and they waved at him and said, hey, hello, waved him on in, and he was like, couldn't you at least put the door up? There's no doors, you could have put a door up. I gotta watch you doing that? You know, it's like, listen, I ought to do a video about it. But in the old days, you know, people there's a communal shitter. There's just a trough. You hung your ass over and you took a dump with each other and you talked about the morning news. You know, it'd be like that was, back in the day, that was the live stream of the day in more ways than one. Off topic, there was snow in Pattaya. Interesting. Hey, listen. You know, what are you gonna do? It's an important subject. Toilets are, I have to push Chuck to use the bum gun. I really need to push him about it. But one of the things that I was just talking about was how there's going to be an election next year. And this is the guy who got busted. I believe it's the same guy who got busted in Australia for selling drugs or trying to sell drugs or something. I don't remember. I try not to get too deep into politics. The main problem of facing Pride is that he can't dissolve the House because his popularity rating has suffered greatly over the last 2 years. His government has performed poorly on the economy, the vaccine procurement, the lockdowns, and their implementation, and even the rise of commodity prices over the last 2 months. Now, brings me to another quick subject, which is, the pork prices have been going up. I have to tell you, pork prices have been going up, and they're putting a fixed price on the chicken. But yesterday, I went to the grocery, right after my stream. I went in. I'm thinking to myself, hey, I'm going to make some meatballs tonight for the kids. I know we have some beef in the refrigerator, some ground beef, but I need to get some more. And then that way it should be enough for all of us. So I go in and I see this package and I go, there's no price on it. I'm like, what the? I look on the back and there's the number 80, and then there in Thai language it says baht. I go, oh, 80 baht. And I go, 80 baht? I go, what the hell? I go, I thought it was 136 baht. And I just nonchalantly threw it in my, I was listening to music and I'm like, all right, I just got to get this stuff and that stuff. Throw it in the basket. Pay for everything, come home. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is 200 grams. Normally, it's 136 baht for 400 grams. Now it's 80 baht. It's the same brand, the same beef, same company, 80 baht for 200 grams. So that means the price for 400 grams would be 160 baht as opposed to 136. Went up 24 baht. That's almost 20%. It's about 18%. It's an 18% increase. And this is what's been going on here. And some people don't see it. And you know what? I do see it. Because I'm the one who buys most of our groceries. I mean, my wife buys some stuff, but I go in and see stuff and I'm like, wait a minute. Something's not right here. It used to be, 68 baht. Now it's 86. I'm like, what the went up 18 baht. I'm like, that's like 28%. I'm like, how are they getting away with this? We all got to eat, that's why. Anyway, he's, I think honestly, I'll be surprised if Prayut stays in office for another term. One of the things that happens here in Thailand, and I can't help but think this stems from, and this is one of the reasons why the government does this. They've got all these names, all these plans, they've got all these little apps. And after a while, you can't keep them straight. If you're gonna get a plan, like for your phone on AIS or True or DTACT, they got plans that they don't tell you about. And you go, oh, okay, what's this one? $4.99 a month? Okay. Then you get it and you look, you're just looking around. All of a sudden you find out, you go, I could get this plan for $2.99. What do they give me to for $4.99? Oh, the $2.99 is for a new customer. Well, I was a new customer. Oh, sorry. They have 100 different plans, so they confuse the hell out of you. Well, in a way, that's kind of what they do with all this. It's test and go. It's sandbox. It's this. It's that. It's like, Jesus Christ. How about the let me in plan? Get me in, get me out. That's the plan. Everybody's complaining about the entry fee. All right, listen. A lot of countries have an entry fee. I understand that. It's 300 baht. It's fuck all. It's peanuts. What I got a problem with is they call it a tourist fee, and yet I'm not a tourist. So if I go out, I got to pay it. All right. You know what? Just because it's not all that much money, yeah, okay, I pay it. But then they say one thing, and then later down the line, they go, oh, we're going to keep this money. Yesterday, I was reading about it. It's 30% they're keeping for administrative costs. Because they didn't mention that in the beginning. Now they're, so all these changes. And even my wife said today, she goes, part of the problem is foreigners don't want to have to think about that maybe Thailand is committing acts of corruption, and it's affecting them. They're forking over their money. And I go, yeah, but the bottom line is what they do with their money is not really our business, as long as we get what we pay for. If they say you're going to be insured, and then you come in here and you're not insured, and you're paying this fund, you're paying money into the fund, and you're covered, and you go into the hospital and they pay for everything like they say they will, or up to a certain amount. Okay, great, but the concern is that that's not going to happen. So there's not a lot of trust. And I think that's something that the reputation of the Thai government, and really, what government has a great this is the thing. How many governments have great reputations? Maybe in the Scandinavian countries. Listen, I was surprised the other day in the park. I see all these cut trees on the side of the walkway, and I'm like, oh, I guess they cut the trees. And then I noticed that the pavement where you walk is brand new, and I go, they did that like last night, to my wife, and she's like, yeah. I go, wow. So they actually are upkeeping, maintaining that park. And I'm like, well, just like 2 blocks down the street, you got a canal full of garbage, and a stack of garbage that's probably 20 feet high, and it's probably 50 feet wide. Not to mention all the garbage on the ground. I'm like, so they can afford to pave something and cut down trees, but they can't afford to have some people go out there. You pay some day laborers 300 baht a day or something, and you get them to pick all the stuff up. They can't afford that. And then that's what brings me to, so how are they going to make this kind of a place where it's like, like it's a Monaco, it's Switzerland, it's, some ritzy place that the wealthy want to all be seen. And for the record, Phnom Penh used to be, in the 50s, a place where the rich and famous in Asia would go to party. People don't know that. But, you know, at one time, before the war, Cambodia was very prosperous. So, you know, who's to say that that place won't come back? They don't have as many natural resources. They don't quite have what Thailand has, but stranger things have happened. All right, let me see here. Now, on another note, when we talked about this, I believe yesterday or day before yesterday, what was yesterday? No, Wednesday we talked about it. And that is the legalization of marijuana here. And I've got an article here from The Nation, Marijuana Legalization, a Step Closer to Reality. The Public Health Ministry's Controlled Drug Committee on Thursday approved the removal of cannabis from the list of illicit drugs. That's big. That's big news. You know, say what you will about Anderton. If he gets this place to where weed is legal, you know, how much, I don't know. These people might be willing to overlook some of the things that he's done. The revised narcotics code in force since January 9th no longer has cannabis and hemp on it, but people have been arrested for growing marijuana. The panel meeting, chaired by Public Health Ministry Deputy Permanent Secretary Dr. Tongchai Kiratitayakon, agreed to remove marijuana from the Category 5 narcotics list. The decision will be referred to the Office of the Narcotics Control Board, which is chaired by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, for approval. If approved at the board's next meeting on January 25th, mark that day on your calendar, the change will be stated in an announcement to be signed by Public Health Minister Anatin Chanwirakul. The announcement is expected to exclude cannabis from the list of illicit drugs, except the cannabinol extracts with tetra. Oh, wait a minute. The announcement is expected to exclude cannabis from the list of illicit drugs, except the cannabinol extracts with tetrahydrocannabinol of more than 0.2%. Food and Drug Administration Secretary General Dr. Paisan Dunkum said. He added that the legal exemption applies only to cannabis grown in the country, so you won't be allowed to bring your own weed here. Hantep Pongpuapan, a specialist in the herbal plants, says he is expecting additional measures to restrict the use of marijuana in the future, similar to cigarettes and hotel and alcoholic drinks. So it's not real clear on just what they're going to allow. At this point, I think they should just go, you know what? Let's start manufacturing it, put it in a, you know, you want to get some doobies. You know, here's a 20-pack, just like cigarettes. Here's a 20-pack. You know, you go down to you got to get them from the grocery store or whatever, but you got to be a certain age. And I think maybe that will happen eventually. But I think that's a ways off. But you see, they're inching closer and closer. They are making changes here. Just like I said about the transportation system here. You want to bitch? Listen, I bitch and moan as much as the next expat here about, you know, well, Thailand, why don't they do this? They should do that. They should. But there's also a lot of great things about it. One of the things is the transportation system. Then they get a little bit of weed going. There's going to be a lot more happy people. They start selling edibles. Thailand would make a shitload of money. Get some of these farmers. Listen, you get some Thai farmer, you know, who legally can make marijuana. These guys, might not be scientists, but they'll be able to churn out some kick-ass weed. All right, listen, guys, do me a favor and leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Check the description down below. Get yourself a shirt or whatever. Check out one of my books. Whatever you want to do. But remember to leave a thumbs up. We got 53 people watching and 21 thumbs up. So please don't be lazy. I understand it's easy to be lazy, but clicking thumbs up doesn't cost you anything. And supposedly it helps with the algorithm. I don't know. Thumbs up, thumbs down helps with the algorithm. I don't even know how many thumbs down I get now. I don't even look. But what does show is the percentage. And the percentage of likes to dislikes is almost always between 80 and 92%. So that's not bad. The Lao Lao Gold, the fine Colombian, makes tonight a wonderful thing. Did Steely Dan sing that? I didn't know that. I went to a hotel a long time ago in Vientiane, and I went out and I was going to some places. Went to a restaurant, went to a little club, and then I went to this place called the Lao Lao Hotel. Met some, Laotian girl, and one thing led to another, and I'll never forget it because this is right when I had first moved here. But she was like begging me to bring her back to Thailand because she could not stand where she lived. And I saw where she lived, and it was a true shithole. You guys call places shitholes, but she was living in a shithole. I mean, like in the mud, tin shack kind of place, and I felt really bad afterwards. But, what are you going to do? Save the world. It was the Cuervo Gold, the fine Colombian, makes tonight a wonderful thing. Oh, is that what it was? The Lao Lao Gold. Gennaro, you got all the poppies. There you go. Still only me and one other person, and then the two girls working. And I don't know how they make it here in Starbucks, aside from the fact that they're charging an arm and a leg for things. Even my wife was saying, we stopped in at Cafe Amazon on the way home today. She got an Americano, a hot Americano. I got a hot cappuccino. 100 baht. You can't even get an espresso here in Starbucks for 100 baht. Casinos in Thailand would be a big blow to Singapore and Cambodia casinos. I don't know. I kind of think it's a different setup. Because in Singapore you got a lot of Chinese, and then in Cambodia the Cambodians are much different than Thais, and especially the gamblers, the guys who got they got a fair amount of money where they're going in gambling. They got the big, it's the stereotypical Asian gambler, and then they got a lot of Chinese that come in. I don't know that they would have that in Thailand. You get the Thai guys, the rich Thais, the people who they are not just rich for Thai people, but rich by all accounts. You'd be getting these guys going in with, rings all over and huge watches with diamonds and that kind of stuff. Starbucks is organizing a union here in the United States. Oh, wow. I did not know that. Well, they make fuck all back in the United States, don't they? How much how much a Starbucks barista makes in the United States? I've kind of lost track with what the income here is, the median income is in Thailand, but I thought it was around 15,000. Average salary in Thailand is 1,160,000 Thai baht, or $34,000. Are you shitting me? Okay, there's a difference. The median income is 14,700 baht. Okay, that was by the end of the last quarter. Now it says here, this other one says 25,500, which is about 800 bucks. Holy shit, the average salary for a sales manager at 7-Eleven is 67,650 baht. That's $2,000 a month here in Thailand, which is a pretty good income. Not bad. I'm guessing 15 to 18 bucks an hour, plus benefits and 401k plan. My daughter's $18 an hour. $18 an hour in LA. I guess if you're not on your own, you got like a roommate, or you're young and you're kind of living at home still, or you're working your way through college, that's a decent wage. But if you're like trying to pay the rent on $1,000 a month apartment, and you've got a car payment and insurance and gas and all that other stuff, it's not all that much. Let me see if I can ask. I don't know who's here. I think Beer left, but I'm going to ask what's her name there, Tian. But let me get some. Didn't I get some water? Oh yeah. Let me ask. I'll see if I can get the 411. Okay. So, for somebody who starts out at Starbucks, they're just like an 18-year-old, 20-year-old kid. They start out and they're working full time. They're gonna start at about 14,000 baht a month here. So the median income is 14,700. But you can see that if somebody's been working here for, say, 3-4 years, like some of these girls, they're probably making around 20,000 a month. I don't want to ask her how much she makes, but they're probably making around 20,000 baht a month, and then they got benefits, profit sharing, health insurance. They got all that kind of stuff. I didn't ask her salary. Good morning, everybody. Listen. Yeah, in Thai culture, it's not all that unusual to ask. True. $180. Holy shit, man. That's a lot. That's Aussie dollars. See, and here my wife is saying 4,000 to 5,000, which is 130 bucks to 150 or so. So it can be even more expensive. It ain't cheap. That's what I mean. Like everything costs, man. Yeah, but I mean, I know that there was a girl that used to work over at Waitangi Hospital, and I know she was making around 50,000. She was a manager. Now she's a regional manager, so she's probably making like 75,000 a month, 80,000 a month, which is, um, that's a decent wage here. I mean, it's not great because it depends on what kind of bonuses they get, because they may make their salary might not be, their salary might be 70,000, 80,000, but then every year they get like an extra month. They get holiday pay, they get sick time, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks or a month every year, and then they get a bonus, on commissions. Like some of the people who are the managers, if they meet a certain quota, they hit a certain target. Anything over that, they'll get like 0.5% or something like that. So if the place is doing a lot of business, they can make really good money. So yeah, and some stock options and stuff. And then I know like just about all Thai companies, not all of them, but a lot of them, the ones that are like full-on companies, and I suspect that that's what happens here. They have this thing called the Providence Fund where you put money in, and then the employer matches it. It's a matching kind of savings. And then if you go over a certain amount of time, you get a higher percentage that they match you. So let's say that you're putting 5,000 baht a month away, and they're giving you 2,500 for the first 5 years. Now you got 7,500 a month that you're putting away because they're putting 2,500 away for you. It's their money, they're matching, right? And then maybe from year 5 to year 8, you're getting 75%, not 50%. So, you're getting 3,750 baht or something like that. So now you're getting 87. Then when you get to 10 years, if you're at 10 years, they match you like 100%. So if you're putting 5,000 baht a month away, now you're getting 10,000 baht a month. So you can see for like a young woman who's starting out, it's 22 years old, man, by the time they're like 35, they're not doing that bad, because the cost of living is much lower here. Or I don't want to say much lower, but it is lower here. And the way that they want to live, most of them who are working women are not running out to buy diamonds and jewelry and that kind of shit. They're putting their money away, and then they sock it away and buy a condo or a house or something like that. So it's deferred until you take it all out. Once you get paid by them, then you have to pay tax on it. Let me see. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I think that's how it works. But let me see. I could be wrong. Oh, okay, yeah. The amount received must be taxed as usual. If there is no retirement and the year of service is 5 or more, it is tax, or more than 5, it is tax deductible. If there is an employee termination, 55 years or older, and 5 or more years of membership, then it's tax-free, and therefore no tax calculation. Yeah, I'm not sure how everything works, but I'm looking at it here. Huh. Interesting. Well, when you are done with the company, they give you the entire amount. It's not, you don't get paid. They don't just give it to you when you hit a certain age. When you stop working there, they pay you whatever you have saved plus their percentage. But you're going to have to pay tax on it in certain situations. let me see here. Yeah, this other site, Wage Center, which is, I believe is a British site. Thailand is okay. Borders. I don't even know about all this. Unemployment here is around 1 to 2%. I don't know when this was done, but let's see if I can find out. Doesn't say. Minimum wage here ranges from 313 baht to 336 Thai baht per day. So $10 to $10.70 per day. Which is not very much. And I'll tell you something, Alex was telling me he has to go do something for his school where he has to help some caterer or something like that, and he has to do his part with the catering and all that. And he's like, the school told me they're not sure if I'm getting paid. And I'm like, so is this mandatory? And he said, yes. I said, well, you're shit out of luck. That's the thing, you know, you're a student, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. But, you know, usually they'll pay something. I don't know, he may end up making some money, but I was like, don't go asking, you know, how much am I gonna make? Just expect that you're gonna have to work for a week and you might not get paid for it, but you get paid by it counting towards your education. Are you shitting me? International flight turns around after passenger refuses to wear mask. Oh, it's a woman. Let's see here. You know, actually, it's a couple. One says a couple, the other says a disruptive passenger. Let's see here. What news do we want to look at? I want to look at the CBS Miami. Where was that I saw? CBS Local, that's what it is. There you go. Don't wear your mask on the plane and everybody else suffers for it. So is it really worth it to her to make all those people go through the hassle of turning around? Yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, resist the tyranny. If you know, if I had my way, well, I'm sure there's a lot of patients who, if they had it their way, she would have been locked in the bathroom. They were an hour and a half into its flight to Heathrow when it circled back and returned to Miami International Airport, my neck of the woods. Publicly, American Airlines is only saying the flight returned due to a disruptive customer refusing to comply with the federal mask requirement. As long as they're not counting the number of people getting on plane already drunk, because so many of these cases involve alcohol consumption prior to boarding the plane. If they don't address that, this could be the new normal for the rest of the year. Oh my God. Oh, this is Peter Greenberg. I was on his show. Wow. It says here, a source close told CBS 4 News that the couple was suspected of being intoxicated, which does not come as a surprise to CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg. I was on a show here a couple of years ago, some people might remember, at the Muse Hotel, which is also where I had a nice beef Wellington with Soy Dog Cowboy and one other person. Yeah, imagine that people start saying, hey, we know if we don't wear a mask that the plane is going to get turned around. This is our way of protesting. We're going to start doing this. I think then that's when they would just say, listen, we're just going to handcuff you to the chair. The decision not to continue with the flight was made because they did not want to fly another 7 hours with passengers who are disruptive and non-compliant. Police dispatch called for officers to meet the plane at gate D14. I can only imagine this. This is so funny. It's so sad, but I mean, I'm laughing. You love it, but the thing is, would you love it if you were on the flight and you were halfway to London and you had to turn all the way back, and then you were waiting, maybe you're planning on going to a wedding, your daughter's wedding or something like that. I'd be pissed. People take their mask on and off to eat and drink throughout the flight. To think the mask does any good is a joke. I understand that, but that's not the point. At this point, when you're on the plane, you got other people to think about instead of your own selfish ass and what you want to push as the narrative. I'm not saying your narrative is wrong. I'm just saying it's selfish to do that to the 250 other people that are on the plane. Oh yeah, why wouldn't American Airlines bill them? They should. Listen, that's got to be, that's some big dough, man. Those people are going to be hating it. I mean, you are in an incubator when you're on a plane. You're inside a metal tube. That's all you're in a test tube. And here in Thailand, I believe they still have the law in place or the rule in place where if you're traveling domestically, there is no food or beverages served. I don't know. It's been since Chiang Mai since I flew anywhere. It's been a couple of months. Anyway, that's pretty funny. I mean, I'm laughing because I'm not on the plane. If I was on the plane, I'd be pissed. Gennaro, what would you do? Would you sweet talk the lady to get her to put her mask on? Or would you throw her in the bathroom? What happens if she can't fit in the bathroom, like the lady I was talking about the other day? She couldn't get her big ass inside the bathroom. What do you do with them? You just lock them up there? You like hog tie them and put the ball in their mouth or something? I mean, what's the next step? It's a little bit scary because, if I was on that plane, I would be pissed. Because here you are, think about it. You're flying, it's a huge waste of time. And if they're drunk, and that was the reason for it, because probably what happened is they're drunk, they'll sober up and they'll go, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to, we are remorseful. And you know what? Throw the book at them. That is not the place to resist up in the air, because you don't know what can happen. Offer the mile high clip. You guys can go into the bathroom and do your thing if you want, but you're gonna have to stay in there. Listen, those toilets in the airplanes, they tend to stink. So I don't know what I'd want to be in there, but that's their problem. Maybe you're gonna have to have a jail. Maybe they'll do that one day. They'll have a in-plane jail, on the plane jail. Like 2 little jail rooms. Throw them in the jail room, and like if they start getting noisy, you go, hey, we're putting a ball in your mouth, strapped around your head. You're gonna be like a pig with an apple in your mouth. What's the answer? Have the airplane or the airlines fork over the bill. Try to bill some guy who's got, $50,000 to his name. What good's that gonna do? You're gonna bankrupt the dude. He's not gonna be able to pay you. And he probably would be pissed off and try to do it again. Ban him. What they should do is ban him from flying ever again. That's the threat that they should say. Listen, if you don't wear your mask, when there is a mask rule, you run the risk of being banned from flying ever again. I mean, that's harsh, but it's either that or put them in a jail cell, and then, if they won't shut up, you could give them a shot of, like a sedative or something. Oh my God. But that's the thing is most of the time, I'm a pretty mellow person, man. Like I go into a plane, I'm like, I don't want any problems. That's the last thing I want is on an airplane. You do not want problems. And I'm sure that Longhorns, if he's listening or watching or whatever, he remembers when I went on to, I went on to the Air Asia. I had like a big bag on my back, you know. I had like a computer bag, and I had like, I don't know what it was. I had something else in my hands. My hands were full. And he goes in, and like the lady is like, "Sir, can I see your your seat number?" And I go, "It's like 9D." I go, "It's 9D or whatever, you know." She goes, "Can I see the pass or whatever?" And I'm like, okay. And so I walked forward a little bit, and I was like gonna put my bags down. She goes, "Sir," and what did she say? I can't remember. Maybe Longhorns would remember, but it was something like, please stop boarding. Stop all boarding. Stop all boarding. I think that's what it was. And I was like, hey, calm down. Let me put my bags down. I'm like, I can't, it's in my pocket. I can't reach it. I'm like, I need to put my bags down. Jesus Christ, man. And I was like, fucking, what the hell, honey? I was like a little excited. I was like, I told you I'm stopping. I'm not going crazy, you know. But she was adamant. Stop all boarding. Stop all boarding. I think that was exactly what she said. It was that or refrain from. No, it was stop. It had to be stop all boarding. And I was like, I do remember with a TSA person, and it was this cow of a woman. She was pushing about 450. She could barely move. And I put my bag down, and I just forgot that I had my laptop in it. Because I used to have this little laptop. It was very small. So I was in all my stuff, and I just put it in, and and it was, and I didn't have a belt on, and I go through, and then all of a sudden I hear this, "Sir, please open your bag." And I was like, whoa, and I was like, talking to me? Open your bag. You have a laptop in there. I was like, oh God. It reminds me of, I can see that happening to Chuck, and that was probably the exact same look I had, where I was like, ooh, I did something wrong? She was just on me, man. She's like, "Don't you know you're not allowed to have a laptop in your bag?" And I was like, holy shit. I was like, it was an accident. Fuck that, Big mama throwing her weight around. How you don't sit next to kids or drunks. When I was younger, I sat down next to a couple of drunks. I didn't like that, but I thought I wrote about it in my book where the kid was behind me. That's a funny story. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm thinking about this one. I don't even remember what airline it was or whatever. I just remember the look on the kid's face. It was some kid, had to be like, barely able to stand up, like holding itself up and kind of wobbling. And this kid is behind me, and the mother is like, honey, don't be like that, just kissing the kid's ass. After all, it is a little kid. And, I'm thinking to myself, fucking hey, this lady shut up, I'm sitting up front, I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, ugh. It's like when you hear a baby cry. It's like, what the hell are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to run over and throw an elbow to the kid's head? No, you can't do that. You kind of hope it stops screaming and yelling. So this kid is behind, and the mother's, doing all these noises and stuff. All of a sudden, I feel this little hand hitting me, and bouncing into the chair. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, you're making me angry, you know? I gave that look. And then I feel the little fingers like on the back of my head, like holding the back of the seat. And the lady's like, that's a good girl. Oh, look, you can stand up. And the kid's like scratching my neck or whatever. And I kind of just leaned forward and just went, boom. And all of a sudden I feel the little fingers kind of, and I look, and the little kid's going like this. And the kid falls backwards into the mommy and starts crying. And I'm like, she didn't say anything, but man, that was funny as hell. I just remember, I just kind of leaned forward and then leaned back kind of quickly and banged into the seat a little bit. And the kid just kind of shook. And I just remember turning a little bit to look. And I see this little look on the kid's face. And the little baby's look, the little kid's face was kind of like it didn't know what the hell was happening. Oh my God. And then the thing started crying again. But it didn't come up and whack me in the back of the head anymore. Now, you know, I mean, I didn't do it that hard, but the kid was like shaky, but the kid kept coming up and, smacking me in the back of the head. And after a while, I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, and I wanted to tell the lady, hey, keep the kid in check. You know, I understand, kids are kids, but don't let your kid whack me in the head. I draw the line there. You know, I don't care if he wants to call me an asshole or he wants to, scream and yell. Prefer not, but when they start whacking you in the head, they walk up and they smack you in the face. It's like, all right, you got one, that's it. There's your one shot. Don't do it again. Oh my God, I just, because I did it so nonchalantly is what's making me laugh, because I didn't want to hurt the kid. But I wanted the kid to stop whacking me in the head and stop tickling me and shit, reaching over. And it was like, next thing I know, the kid's going to be sticking his finger in my eye or something, fish hooking me. Ugh. That's when you take your shoes off and you turn them upside down and push them forward. Oh, God. So, what does it matter, Sabaidi? Really, what does it matter? Does it really matter that much to you? 2 of the 3 last trips that I have taken, I had assholes on the plane with me who were disruptive and disrespectful to the cabin crew. I'm not assertive, but I confronted them. There have been a couple of times where I let out a, what the fuck? I have done that on the plane before. Because it's not really directed at somebody and it's not trying to be aggressive towards anybody. But when you go like, what the fuck? People go, huh? They realize, like, oh, who's not happy? Oh, God. I had another flight. I forget where I was going. Maybe it was one of the flights to China. Because I went twice. And I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I do remember there was a Chinese guy that was like walking around, and they were supposed to be seated. They wanted to talk to their friend, so they're like walking around where the friend were. There was a couple of, it was like a whole group of them. And so this guy was standing up, and he wouldn't sit down, and the lady's like, you gotta sit down, and the guy didn't speak a word of English. And they were trying to tell him, sit your ass down, and people were getting pissed. Finally, she just kind of like pushed him forward a little bit. She started walking. She goes, led him forward. And he's yapping the whole way back in Chinese, which that's irritating. It's not like the most beautiful language like Italian or French or something like that. It was kind of got on my nerves, and especially because I'm thinking to myself, what happens if this guy does something like tries to open the door or something, you know? Anyway. Hey, let's remember that in Thailand, things are getting slightly better. And that beats the alternative, which means going in the wrong direction. Oh, that kid. I'll never forget that one. I'll always remember the story. Might not remember the specifics, but I'll remember the story. I remember that little look on his face. Prior to being employed by the Department of Health, I wouldn't have gotten involved, but having a rapport with the airport crews, I wanted to defend them. Yeah. Well, there's no reason you got to be an asshole. And listen, I've seen a couple of drunk guys before who they were just being assholes to be an asshole, you know, and that's really, you know, I don't want to get involved. I never want to get involved in any of that shit. I want nothing to do with it. I want to run from that shit. Let them take care of it, you know. But when it involves me, that's a different story. And, you know, the first thing I do is rat them out, because that's what you're supposed to do. Excuse me, flight, my little waitress friend over there, can you help me out? This guy right here, he's slobbering on me, and he's drunk and drooling on me. Can you, like, move me somewhere else? Get me out of here? You know, that kind of thing. That's the way to do it. Contrary to what some people believe, an all-out brawl in the air is probably not the best thing to do. You fucking dummies, man. Hey, why don't I open the door up and go have a smoke? All right, the mall is now open. It's 10 o'clock. And as you can see, there's still only 2 people in, oh, wait a minute, there's another person over there. 3 people in Starbucks. Pour my water in here. You know, when I was younger, I used to drink on the plane, and I used to get pretty smashed, but I never really got out of hand. I mean, you know, it's just like, it's like being in a small room with a bunch of people, and everybody's being cool, and you're the biggest asshole in the place because you can't control yourself. Some people, they just get so drunk they don't care. What I remember is the guy, the actor. Oh, I always get the aisle. And you know why I get the aisle? Because if I want to get up and take a piss, or I want to get up and walk around, I don't have to ask somebody, oh, please, excuse me, can I get through? I don't want that. I don't particularly like flying. Who really likes flying? Oh, you know, I don't want to. I don't want to fly if I don't have to. Now, I don't know how many of you, I mean, like, listen, I'm not a little guy, but, like, I can sit in the chair pretty easily and put my arms down. And how many of you have had the battle for the armrest? Because that's happened to me numerous times. You know, you got some guy who's about, maybe he's pushing 4 bills. He's 400 or 500 pounds, 300 pounds, big burly guy sitting next to you. And you know, it's like he's just sitting there and he's halfway through your into your seat. And you're trying to get your arm on a little rest there, I never fly in the middle seat if I can help it. I can't remember the last time I've flown in the middle seat. That's why I like flying with my wife and kids, because they're all like thin. Nicholas not so much, but it's the battle for the armrest. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Omicron. I still don't understand why they don't open up the mall at 10 o'clock, especially now when there's not as many people willing to come out and go shopping. Even now, there's not as many. I mean, the place is busy, but it's not as busy as it has been. And Chuck came here the other day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm all so busy," and I'm like, "Really? It's not that busy, buddy." Yeah, I don't generally get up, and I might take a piss on a really long flight, but I don't generally have to, on like a 2-3 hour flight, take a piss before I get on the flight. Now, sometimes I'll get up and I'll go into the bathroom and like wash my face or whatever, but I can't stand the smell of the latrine. Oh, God. Roman's another Gennaro. It's just what I need. Sure, you're not his brother. I've found nowadays that if you really look at some of the flight attendants, a large percentage of them are not all that high. And if you go into America, Jesus Christ, forget about it. I don't know if like Gennaro, you're in the U.S., there's some other people in the U.S. in here. Flying's about the destination, not the journey. Yeah, that's why I don't like airports and I don't like airplanes. Just get me to my destination. Use the Star Trek thing and just get me there. But if you go in the United States, you look at the flight attendants there. I haven't flown all that much in the United States, but Jesus, man, they must not have a weight requirement anymore. Because, I mean, I've seen some flight attendants, they must have been 200 pounds. I mean, big women. You know, they were older. They probably had been there a long time. They're like senior flight attendant or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't think I've ever taken a shit on an airplane. I don't think I ever have. I just hold it, man. I just hold it. Streaming Maven? Sweater Cowboy, what's happening? Oh, by the way, for those who are interested, Carlos, had surgery, and he is A-OK, and he will be back in Thailand as quickly as possible because he wants to get the hell out of the United States. You try to beat your meat on every flight. A little bit too much information there. Longhorns, did you hear me saying how that one time I went on the Air Asia flight and I was trying to get my ticket to show where to sit, and the lady was going, stop all boarding. And I was like, what the fuck, man? She was a bitch. That's so sad because, there are some good-looking Australian women out there. Why? I don't know. It's the same thing. Listen, me and my wife were talking about a coffee shop today, because there's a coffee shop just opened up. They're opened up now. And she goes, we have to go over there and help them out, buy some coffee from them or whatever. And I said, yeah, okay. I said, but can you imagine owning a coffee shop and you're really expecting to make, like, you think you're going to get rich from your coffee shop? I'm like, that probably ain't going to happen. But, like, why? I don't know. If you're going to have, like, guys working at your coffee shop, you better have a good-looking guy or guys so that the women, they get, they get the feeling they're dealing with somebody they like to look at. The same with guys and the women. Why would you? I don't know. What do I know? Am I allowed to say this now? I don't even know. Too many airplane shits for me to count. Can't imagine you have never gone number 2 on a plane. Never. Listen, I held my shit 5 days once. 5 or 6 days. And I don't remember when it was, but I remember the count was 5.5 days. And but like when I had my hip taken out, or my hip replacement surgery, I don't think I shit for about 3.5 days. That was kind of rough, even the first time, because you can't really sit like you normally would sit. You kind of are leaning back with your leg and your hip straight, so you don't, Anyway, Chinese plane, the sinks are full of spit. Oh, God. That's so disgusting. Singapore Airlines I use a lot. Yeah, maybe, I might have taken one when I flew first class or business class. I've flown first class a few times and business class a few times. And if I have taken a shit, I'm trying to think. It would probably be in first class, just because I wanted to say I took a shit in first class. I don't know. I don't like AirAsia. I can't stand AirAsia, to be honest. I never have liked them. I would much rather take Viet Air or Nok Air or any other airline than AirAsia. I can't stand them. Couldn't wrap up the stream any other way in the bathroom, So you make a big one. Or as Nicholas says, you drop a deuce. You drop a dookie. I transferred in Shanghai once, and I fucking hated it. Worst fucking airport I've ever been in my life. And I told you guys the story before. I've told you guys the story before where on the way back, I think, was it the way back or the way over, I might have flown by myself. First of all, they had a Starbucks, and it wasn't a Starbucks. It was a Chinese, complete rip-off of Starbucks. So they obviously didn't give a shit. And then I went in to get some food at a restaurant. I go into this place, and I see they have a bowl of, they had a bowl of soup, and it was like Quidtio. It was supposed to have some noodles and a little bit of pork and all this other stuff. Some tomato and some roughage, some like cabbage or something, right? And I'm like looking at it going, okay, that looks pretty good. I'll get this one. They come out. Boy, they're having a laugh today. And they give me a bowl of like some, it looked like hot water with some pepper in it. And then there's one slice of tomato and a little piece of cabbage. And I didn't see any pork. I saw some stuff floating around. I wasn't sure what it was. And for that, it was like, I don't know, it was like $7 or something. And I'm going, what the fuck is it? And then, the thing is, it took a long time for me to get it. And I see them like putting some broth in. It was like what I thought was like water. And I could see the girl like grab a tomato from like a little tray. She grabbed it, dropped it in the fucking soup, and the cabbage in the soup. And then there's my big meal. And I'm like, where's all the noodles? This don't look like the picture, honey. And I'm like, man, I got fucked in Shanghai. Yeah, I've never used Scoot before. I was on Air Asia flight and my seat recliner was broken. The seat would not stay upright. I pointed up to the crew and they reprimanded me for having it reclined. Well, I told the story a long time ago with Air Asia. They screwed me online once. Their system didn't used to be very stable many, many years ago when they first started. And I went to go put pay for a ticket. At the time I had, a chunk of money in my US bank account. And I clicked the button and it didn't look like it was clicking. So, I clicked it a couple of times. Next thing I know, I get charged for like, I don't know, it was like 12 tickets. And I'm like, it drained my bank account, And I call them up and they said, yeah, there's no refunds. You got a non-refundable ticket and you purchased it. I said, how am I going to purchase 12 tickets in the same name and fly at the same time, you fucking moron? And they didn't do anything. So I called their help department or whatever, their customer support, spoke to a manager, and eventually they got around to it. They refunded all the money. It took like a couple of weeks. It's like one of those things where it's like, yes, we'll give you your refund. It'll take you like up to 30 days to get your money back. It was one of those kind of things, which pissed me off. And then I was like, this is bullshit. So I got back on the phone with the manager. I go, this is shit. I'll never use your company again. And they gave me a free flight somewhere. I don't even remember where I went. It might have been that I went to, what the hell's the name of it? Not Borneo. Well, yeah, I went to Malaysia and then Borneo from there. So my experience with Air Asia, between that and the stewardess who, she jumped the gun a little in my opinion. I don't have the highest opinion of them. They are a budget, cheapy airline, so, And then I've had a couple of times where I missed my flight because their flight, I had connecting flights, an Air Asia flight to an Air Asia flight, and their flight was late. So I got to the place late, and I'm like, how am I supposed to get to my next destination? And they're like, sir, if you look at the ticket, it says that this is a budget airline, and if you miss your flight, blah, blah. And I said, listen, fuck off. I was like, please. Your flight was late. You made me late for the connecting flight. You're going to have to do something for me. And they did, eventually. But Jesus Christ, it's like pulling teeth, man. So my opinion of Air Asia is shit. I don't like it. I'll fly on Viet Air. I've never had a problem with Viet Air, not once. And I know people that say, I've never had a problem with Air Asia. Well, with Air Asia, if you have a problem, good luck getting it rectified. Yeah, slow going here. How you doing, Steve? Slow going, slow going. You got 2 people here. And you got the 2 girls working here. And this is the first time I've seen them laugh so hard in quite some time. So they must have a little bit of free time. There's a hell of a lot more Grab customers than there are customers in the establishment here. Only fly Air Asia for non-stop flights, yeah. Connecting flights are a nightmare. Yeah, I don't like Air Asia. And my wife was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Phuket on AirAsia." And then she tells me the other day, she goes, they changed my flight. I go, "What do you mean they changed your flight?" She goes, they changed it. I got to leave 2 hours later. I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, they must not have enough people to fly, so they changed me to the later flight." I'm like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, that's true. I didn't even notice that. So there's a guy in the corner. I think sometimes people just forget. Really, they just forget. Yeah, that's good news, man. That's good news. And I have not been watching what's going on in the UK, but Boris Johnson apparently doesn't look too good. He doesn't look like he's very happy. I predict he's not going to last all that much longer, and I'm talking about on the planet. I don't think he's going to be alive all that much longer. He has that look like he could go at any time. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They've lost my luggage before. Motherfuckers at AirAsia. They lost my luggage once. It took me like 3 days to get it back, and I was like, airline horror stories. If you got one, let me know it. Steve, you've got to have a airline horror story. You fly quite a bit. I haven't had any that I can think of in a while. I used to fly Cebu Air back and forth from Bangkok to Cebu in the Philippines. And there was one time that they had to they delayed the flight. And you're supposed to leave at like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And so they were like, "We're sorry, but we're not going to be leaving until 8 o'clock in the morning." And I'm like, "Well, so what the hell am I supposed to do now? What am I going to do, go home?" So they're like, "Oh, we have some snacks and beverages for you." And of course, they give you like one of those little 4 ounces of like orange drink. It's not even orange juice. It's like orange drink. The shit that it's like, it tastes like shit. It's probably loaded with sugar. And then they gave like, like one of those little pastry pie things with the, it's like they call them puffy pies, I think here. And it's like a little pastry, like a hard pastry. And then inside is like some kind of a pork or mystery meat. And it's about this, it's about this big and about that thick. And I'm like, so, I haven't eaten since 7 o'clock at night, honey. And now you're telling me this is what I get? Well, sir, we are giving, at least we're giving you something. It was that mentality. That's why, if you can, it pays not to fly on the budget airlines. Yeah, only carry-on to me is great. That's what I do most of the time. Unfortunately, what happens is I end up packing my carry-on bag so full that I can't fit my. This is what happened last time in Chiang Mai. I can't fit my laptop, and I have to carry a laptop bag, which is okay, but it's much nicer. I need to really spring for, and we have one, I just never use it. I need to spring for I'm an old fucking man now. I need to, what I really need is the rolling kind, like my big bag. It rolls, you drag it behind you, it's very easy to move, doesn't matter how heavy it is, it's very easy. I need one of those for my carry-on luggage. And that way, if it's heavy, I just roll it. Now it's like I throw the fucking thing on my back and it's like, I don't want to do that. Make things a little easier, yeah, okay. Sometimes you have to, but One trip I had 3 flights in one day because there was no direct flights to where I was going. Yeah, I've had that kind of thing, Andy. I flew from Bangkok to Guyana, Georgetown, Guyana, and that was, I don't know how many fucking flights it was. I went to London, I think it was London first, London to New York to Miami, and I didn't get off on the first one. And then Miami to Trinidad and Tobago, and then to Guyana. Never stop eating or drinking. Yeah, then you never have to wear a mask. Well, that's the other thing. You know, like what I was saying, Steve, you're out walking around. Like we walk at the park. Now we're walking at the park. Big deal. I never thought I'd be walking at the park with my wife. You know, I don't know why. I never thought of her as like being able to keep up with me, quite honestly, physically. But you know, as I've grown older, and you know, she's never been in real bad shape or anything, but she was never the athlete I was when I was younger. And I always remind her of that. I'm like, honey, you know, I used to run like 6 miles in 41 minutes. You know, I used to run the mile in 4.5 minutes. I'm like, you start coming close to that, I'll be impressed, you know. But I am impressed she sticks with it. But, you know, we go out and then it's like we're walking around and she's like, oh, I'm going to put my mask on. I'm like, don't put your fucking mask on. Who are you walking with? There's nobody around. Look around. There's nobody here. It's me. It's you. What are we wearing a mask for? And nobody's going to say a friggin' word. And the thing is technically, I'm walking. I'm on my walk. That is exercise. Why do I have to wear a mask then? Because here in Thailand, you don't have to wear a mask if you're eating, drinking, or exercising. There you go, you know? Good morning, Mr. Dowlow. I heard today that employee shortages in the U.S. are beyond 8 million people. Wow, that's crazy, man. As you know, I was talking about it the other day, and I need to get into this a little more deeply and get more specific and, you know, figure some things out, do a little research on it. But one of the reasons is that, you know, people move on, and you know what? I said that, sorry, but I said that about the whoring scene here. What's going to happen is you think that all these girls are going to go running back or new girls are going to take their place. Fuck, they're not going to they don't care. Some of them will, but a lot of them are being like, what? I don't need to do that. You know, my little friend, you know, whatever fuck her name is. My little friend, Pookie, she's got a clothing store and I started selling for her and now we're partners in the business and I'm doing better than I was as a hoe. They're moving on, they're doing different stuff. You know. Oh, I didn't think about it at the airport. Shit. Got nobody to take your bag, get your bags, move your bags around. You know, now look, you see, the guy's still wearing his mask. You know, whatever, it's up to him, but I mean, you know, like, and it used to be that the girls here, if they were behind the counter there, it was all plexiglass, so they didn't ever wear their mask. And then one day, it was like the very next day, I was like, what the hell happened? You all got masks on and there's no plexiglass. They still have the plexiglass up. You know, but I'm like, well, that's one way to do it. You got multiple properties and you got like different sets of clothes there and stuff like that. Listen, Steve, I don't know if you watch any TV, but I've been watching this show called Succession. I don't know how popular the show is, but it's about a family that's, you know, like, it's like the Rupert Murdoch family or whatever. They're the owners of a media company, and they're, you know, it's a multi-billion dollar company. They fly in a private jet, and you know, they do all that kind of stuff. And not only is it funny, but it shows, you know, like, this is how these people think. It was like, what was it the guy said? Somebody was like a waiter at one of their events. And so this guy, one of the sons, he's into drugs. He's like, you know, he's got a weakness for coke and you know, other drugs. So he sees this guy and he says, you know, you got anything? And he's smoking a joint. He goes, you got anything a little bit harder? So he smokes the joint with him. The guy goes, yeah, all right, I can get you something. So they start driving. And all of a sudden, the guy is driving. The guy that he's dealing with is driving. The guy starts kind of getting weird. And he goes, are you okay? Are you okay? The guy crashes his car. Just like Kennedy. He crashes the car into a lake. The rich guy gets out of the car, gets out and decides, fuck this, I'm not sticking around. He's like, I'm out of here. He walks away. The guy gets found with drugs in his system. Now, they own a media corporation, so the guy that's not driving, the son, he goes to his father, he goes, this guy fucking died. I was in the car with him. Can you help? You know, what are you going to do? He goes, you're my son. You're a fuck up, but you're my son. I'll help you. And so he helps him by using the media and his connections with the police to get him out of it, to make sure that he was nowhere near that scene, and he completely walks. There's no, not even a sense that he's going to jail. But it's just fucking hilarious because you see their mentality is in such a way that they don't even think any of the rules apply to themselves. It's fucking hilarious. You got one guy who's constantly jerking off. He's constantly trying to jerk off because that's the only way you can get off. Oh my God, it's a fucking hilarious show. Heck, I have clothes in each location. I travel with a laptop and a change of underwear. That's pretty good. Travel light, man. Scott, do you know what cats do in the litter box? I know this is a trick question. Because I have a cat and I know what he does, but I have a feeling you're going to say something else. Anyway, I highly recommend the show, Succession. And, you know, my buddy saw it, and he's like, why do they have to say, you know, the F word all the time? It's like they're doing it just to be cool. And I'm like, that's not why they're doing it. The old man is like this. Imagine me at about 75, except I'm a billionaire. You know, he's calling people a stupid cocksucker and, you know, fuck this and fuck that. It's pretty funny. Anyway, I don't know why I'm bringing that up again, but I love the show. And, you know, maybe because they have, you know, it's like, where are we going to go? Are we going to go to New York? I'm tired of New York. Let's go to L.A. Let's go to Bosnia. Let's go to Paris. You know, they're like, fuck it, I'm going to go there. And they go, and they always have a house there, and they always have everything set up, you know. Pretty cool. All right, now we're back here. Let's see if this thing's going to work. Travel tip: get throwaway undies, save space in my backpack and my. Yeah, they have screw you money, exactly. Throwaway undies, yeah, that's always good. I saw a few people here in our club walking around with masks outside. Of course, they were from New York City, of course. Sorry, Soy Dog. Soy Dog comes in and then he says, hey, how you doing? Everything's good. Then he leaves. We want your input. I know I'm not putting people online, but it's just because I don't feel like dealing with the whole problem. Like right now, I'm looking at the computer and my computer is hanging while my phone works fine. So, but if I was to have him on or have Chucky on in the stream, or Steve or whoever else, it would be like there's going to be a lag and the quality is going to be shit. I don't know what the deal is. It's right now. It's probably the internet and Starbucks. Like it, Andy. Just changed my policy. Yeah, I mean, you know, don't go and buy yourself a pair of $40 underwear. That is a pretty good idea. Throw away underwear, throw away socks. So when you're going back, it's lighter than when you're, and you have room in case you buy some gifts or something. Anywhere, where are we for time here? I told myself today was going to be like a 45-minute stream. So much for that. What are you looking at? Hello?
Yeah.
Do you want to say something? No speak? Okay. Just fucking give me the fucking stare down, man. What the fuck? Anyway. There it is there. I don't think, some people don't understand what I'm doing here. It's like I'm committing some atrocity or something. I don't know. "11 days. What's today? 21st. So that means 30 days has September, April, June. Let me see. "31st? Actually, my heartbeat is about between 70 and 75 usually. I just, you know, like it's a bit strange when you're sitting here and then all of a sudden somebody walks right up and just starts staring at you. I was like, all right, now what? What's next? It's a bit strange, you know? Why are you staring at me? คุณพูดภาษาไทยได้ไหม ก็มองทำไมครับ ผมไม่มีปัญหานะ Okay? Okay. I think he's just curious. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, somehow I doubt that. I don't go in assuming that people think I'm cute. I just don't have that in me, you know? No, come on. I'm like, it's a bit off-putting, you know? I think it's a curiosity thing. I didn't, you know, I don't want any problems, but I think it's a curiosity thing, but it's really, like I said, it's off-putting when you're sitting there and somebody's like gawking at you. Well, I wasn't yelling. Oh, God. I think, well, maybe, like I said, curiosity. It's like, well, what's he doing there? Well, I've never seen that before. Some people, it's still an anomaly, you know, to see somebody talking to a phone. I understand. It's strange. Now he's walked over and bought something. He's probably the head of the police department. I don't like the looks of this guy. But you know, I mean, think about it. It is slightly off-putting. I mean, really, it's like that's how he's looking at me. I'm like, whoa, whoa, what the? You know, I don't want to because I don't want to put the camera on him because I don't want to give him any reason to get pissed off. I didn't have it on him either. But this is the dude's stuff over here. But he was like, it's really strange to me. Now I know how a sexy woman feels when some guy walks up and goes. Anyway, don't get too excited, boys and girls. I've seen so many people in Bangkok walk around talking to their phones. I'm one of them. Well, he's talking to his phone right now, too. He's talking to his phone, but he's not doing a video thing. Here's another. This is a foreigner as well. He's trying to get in. You missed that one, too. I missed it. He's trying to open up the friggin' door. He's yanking on the door, trying to pull on the door. He can't get in. And nobody understands that. It really would be nice if they just put something up saying we're open from 11 o'clock to 9 o'clock or whatever, you know. So what you're leaving on what, Andy? The 31st? You know what's funny is that Tian used to work in Pattaya. And I'm like, oh, so this is nothing to you. Imagine if you're, you know, some Thai girl and you're working in Pattaya. All the guys that probably come in, the drunks and the horny old bastards and the, you know. So I'm like, when I found that out, no, not really. I mean, you know, it was all very mellow. I mean, you know, it was kind of, like I said, the only way I know how to put it is it's a little bit off-putting, especially inside here. It's a little strange. But now that I think about it, I'm like, there's no gimbal. I don't have a gimbal. Oh, thank you, Stephen. I don't know if I'm getting slimmer, but I am getting a little more muscular just from all the walking and the push-ups and squats and stuff I've been doing. Not a lot, and I've been watching what I eat, but you know, not a lot, but just my body's changing a little bit, you know, which is good. I'm surprised to hear that, but okay, I'll take it. Arrived February 2nd. Yeah, I was surprised to hear that she did. And then I was like, so you speak English? No, I don't speak English. I'm like, sure you don't. That's the thing. I think, honestly, every single one of them speaks English. They may not speak great English, but they all speak English. They certainly understand it. Yeah, don't forget that when you come here, Andy, your drinking time, they stop serving drinks at 11 o'clock now. So aren't you lucky? You're coming at the right time. Yes, pick your girlfriend very, very carefully. That's why I always say, if you're going to get one. Don't do it right when you move here. Come on. Don't hook up right away. Give yourself some time. Learn the language. You know, I mean, come on. Take your time. Or don't get one. I was going to say my tip of the day. You know what my tip of the day is? Stay single as long as you can. Nowadays, I think it's the right move. You stay single as long as you can. And be damn careful that if you get involved with a Thai girl, you know what you're doing. See, I'm not yelling. Well, I think playing the field is important. Sow your oats. That's if there's anybody out, all these old guys in the stream, they don't need this information. They know they're already married, or you know, they're already single, or whatever it is. But for the younger people that might be watching, the younger demographic, hey, the Thai girls are waiting longer. You should wait longer too. You know, there's no need to get married when you're 22. Take your time. Well, I don't know that he'll be back because he doesn't like me now. He's upset with me because I said his thinking is like a kid. Thinks like a kid. He's juvenile. But I do think that, and you know, the thing is you're gonna come in and you're gonna talk and you're gonna, you know, say what you want to say. Well, then, you know, don't be surprised if I tell you what I think. And I think he's a bit juvenile in how he thinks. I told my wife that I know this guy that comes into the chat that says he's going to marry his ex-girlfriend, and I think that the reason why is not because he loves her, just because he wants a visa. And that's about the worst fucking reason to get married. Yeah, only beach I go to. Yeah, I don't mind going to beach bars by myself. I mean, remember the little bar that I went to in Khao Lak? Well, there's two bars I went to. I went to one in Riley and one in Khao Lak. And both of them I had mojitos. I don't know what it is. I must have some kind of attraction. I think some of Chucky must have rubbed off on me. Guys, they all want to stare at me and stuff. I don't know what's going on today. But both those places were cool, and I just sat there by myself and had a drink. You know, you should be able to do that if you want, and I don't do it very often. In fact, that's probably the last time that I had a drink. So... Another great policy. I don't know, you know, you go there with a buddy or something, there's nothing wrong with going out. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong at all, but don't expect to find the love of your life in some, you know, little ratty dive, some dive bar. Oh, the best girl in the world's gonna be there. You might find her there, but chances are you won't. Yeah, the islands. Actually, my wife was talking to me about that this morning and the other day. Yes, baby Guinness. That's right, that was the last time I probably had a drink. See, I can't remember. Maybe. I think I only had that one drink the whole day, so it's not much. Scott, the more split the government power, the better. Like I said, just get me to the island, get me to an island. And Bo was saying to me, yeah, so why don't you go? She's like, well, let's go somewhere. Let's go to some island or something. Hillary too. Those are a little different because you're not going to be alone. You're not going to be alone for very long. You know, go to some go-go bar by yourself. Oh, here we go again. Is he going to go? Oh, okay, he did go out. He didn't go back through. I thought he was going to try to go outside. Oh, he left the fucking door open. Jesus Christ. Happened yesterday, too. Guy comes in, grabs a coffee, walks out, leaves the door open. Kochang. Which Kochang? The one that everybody thinks about to the east? Because I was like, you know, the one that I went to in the south was almost perfect. The Kochang in the south. That was almost the perfect place. It's easy for a place to be perfect when, you know, like we went to that hotel and it was, my wife had to do some business there and we got to stay there and it was a beautiful place and it was, you know, 5-star place. Okay, that's easy to have a good time there. But, you know, when you're going to some place and you're paying for everything and you're trying to figure out, do you really like the place? That place, I think I spent 5,000 baht for 6 days and 5 nights. And that included the train and the transportation on the boat and everything. You don't have a lot of, the only thing you could spend your money on once you pay for the little bungalow, which was 500 a night, is for food. That was the only thing you really, you know, there were no automobiles on the island. Only motorbikes. Here you go, Gennaro. Gennaro says hello. มีคนเขาอยู่อเมริกาเขาชู Gennaro เขาพูดสวัสดีคุณบาเบียร์เขาบอกน่ารักโอ้รักมากก็แป๊บหนึ่งอินเทอร์เน็ตก็ไม่เคยดีที่นี่นะก็ที่นี้ก็ใช้ 4G แต่ที่นี่ก็ไม่เคยดีเปิดยังShe wants to see herself on the computer. She couldn't see herself on the computer because there's a lag because Starbucks internet is dog shit. It's so slow here. That's why usually I use the 4G and just connect it, but hey, nothing wrong with buying up the low-priced properties. My wife and I have talked quite a bit about, you know, maybe we should get a condo and then fix it up and sell it, flip it, da-da-da-da. Fuck, we can't be bothered most of the time. You cannot own anything in Mexico other than on a lease. Oh, wow. See, there you go. There's something about Mexico that I didn't even think about. It's pretty much the same here. Here we go. There's another guy trying to get in here. You can't come in. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. He's gonna go around. He's gonna come right back here. He's gonna come in and try to open this door. Oh God. One of these days somebody's gonna break the door. Somebody's gonna break the door. I'll be starting in Royette and ending in Hat Yai in my T-Lock adventures. Oh, God. So, your T-Lock adventures, does that involve any internet love affairs? Are these your girlfriends that you have not met yet? No. Yan. No. อีก6 นาที 7 นาที แล้ว Up to you. So they're opening early. I don't know how that works, Gennaro. Wouldn't it be easier just to come here and, like, you know, just kind of like, I mean, I guess if you want to get a little something in the evening, it would be easier to. Hey, thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. Choke D to you. Wouldn't it be easier just to hook up, find something here, and not like have to like go from town to town wondering what you're gonna get? I mean, I don't know. What do I know? I've been out of the game for 20-something years now, you know? Today's been a strange day. You know the day when the woman walked in and started a fight with the 2 women? It's a similar day to that, except there's no physical violence. But there is some strangeness going on. Terrorists in Portugal from time to time. I didn't know that. Listen, you know, Gennaro, that's the thing. If I was a single guy, that is probably what I would do. I'd be a roamer. I'd be roaming around, you know. I understand, but I'm not, and I don't want to be. At this point in my life, I mean, you know, I'm sure some of us older folk understand what I'm talking about. I wouldn't want to start over. I wouldn't want to go. I was telling my wife, I said, you know, when I was involved in photography and I was writing for the magazines and doing all these things, I wanted to be alone. I didn't want to have anyone with me because I felt it would slow me down. And it would be a pain in the ass. I have to, you know, make sure everybody's okay, and, you know, are my kids okay? Is she okay? Now I'm older. I don't have to worry about my kids. My kids don't even, you know, half the time they want to do their own thing. Oh shit. And when it comes to her, she doesn't slow me down now. You know, it's not the same. Before, maybe she would slow me down, but now she doesn't. And now I don't really want to travel, you know, without her. I don't know about Ecuador, man. You know, I don't know about Portugal either. And then, you know, like Chuck said, listen, there's no reason why you can't stay here. I'm like, well, I guess it just depends on what happens in the next few years. But yeah, you know, never say never. Who knows? You could end up anywhere, you know, but it sure would be easier to just stay here and like for me, and listen, again, my wife and I talk about it all the time. And I never thought I would even hear it from her because, you know, 5 years ago would have been like, if the kids aren't with me, I'm not going to go. Now it's a little different because they're on their own. They're independent, man. Shit, what happened? But, you know, we could end up in Samui. We could end up, you know, on the outskirts of Bangkok. We could end up anywhere. I mean, you know, it just depends. But we're not gonna, we won't end up here. That's not gonna happen. In a few years, we definitely won't be here. I don't care how good the internet is, or the Sky Train, or the whatever, you know. It's not gonna matter. Anywhere, where are we for time here? Gotta hook this up here. I'm running out of battery. Here we go. All right, we're back in business. Good deal. Just like that. I bet you that the marathon stream, no, it's not even 3 hours. I mean, ideally, I'd like it to be an hour to an hour and a half. Lately, I decided to go to 2 hours. For some reason, the last couple of streams have been 3 hours. Somebody left a message the other day going, these girls, you're laughing about them taking selfies, but you're on doing live streams 4 hours every day. And I'm like, I haven't done 4-hour live streams every day in a long time. All right, 2 hours, 3 hours. And there is a difference, you know. Charles, how you doing? They will probably move the goalpost. Well, they might. That's what always happens. When is the best time to go to the ancient city? Hang on a second. I got to look at this because I'm not synced here between the computer and the laptop. What's going on here? Oh, that should work. Minor technical difficulties. When's the best time to go to the ancient city? During the week, do you think? Yeah, another 45-minute stream. Well, you know what? You might want to find out if everything is open yet before you even go there. Because, you know, when Longhorns and I went, there was like nothing open. And part of the fun is when the little market, the little floating market is open. That's half the fun right there. So I don't even know that it would matter if you went on the weekend because there's just not that many people there. But I would call them up. I don't know, maybe I can do it. I can see, you know, let me see if they're open yet. Maybe I can see online, but I don't know if they're fully open yet because they weren't before and they didn't look like they were gonna be. Let me see if I can put I'll put their website. What does it say here? Oh shit. Closes 6 p.m. It is open, but it opens at 9 a.m. But that doesn't mean the whole thing is open right now. So, hang on. Here is their. Let me see if I can put this in English for you. English. Yeah, see, they don't tell you, so we really have to talk to them, but I'm going to put the website address up for you anyway. Well, they say they're open. They were open when Longhorns and I went. But the majority of the park is closed. And I don't mean, what I mean is there's nobody there. The whole floating market was just, there was nobody at the floating market. It takes away, you know, half the fun is sitting there eating, going around on the water for, you know, 20 minutes or whatever. That's half the fun. So, you know, if they're not completely open, I wouldn't go there. Somewhere else that you might want to go is the Erewhon Shrine. I don't know if you've been there before, which is, I think, made by the same people. Yeah, Erewhon Museum, rather, not Shrine. And I did a thing on there, but there's certain parts of the park where you can't. You're not supposed to take photos. You're not supposed to, live stream, shoot video, whatever. But this is the part for the Erewhon. That's the one with the elephants, the elephant heads. You got the 3 elephant heads. You can see it if you're going by the freeway. But that place is pretty cool. Yes, it is a live stream. We're still live. Believe it or not. Man, I'm telling you, Starbucks' internet, be forewarned, is so spotty. It's just really bad. It's bad. It's not good. Every time I'm here, I always have problems with their internet. If I use their, instead of using 4G like on my phone, if I don't connect it to the laptop or I'm just using the Wi-Fi here, it never is stable. It always connects, disconnects, and then it'll stay connected for 5 minutes, then it'll disconnect. It just sucks. And I'm really surprised because it's never been good here. So yeah, Erewhon Museum is another place I would definitely go. And it's not quite as big as the ancient city. That's a pretty cool place. Anyway, here we go. Hey, is this thing on? Are we live? You ever see Joe Dirt, the movie Joe Dirt, where Joe Dirt's mother is like, are we on? Are we on the air? And then she had some dolls, some clowns she was selling or something. And she was like, you can get these clowns at my website for $49.95 or whatever the hell it was. It was pretty funny. There's plenty to do here. I mean, especially if you haven't been here for a while. So, anyway, I think we're just about done here. We got a few minutes. We're going to wrap it up. Don't forget to click thumbs up. Should have some videos going on. I'm reading stuff you don't see. I don't know what I'm reading that you don't see. Maybe hit refresh. Is there a site online that tells you what's open or going on in Bangkok? Yeah, it's called An American in Bangkok. There's a couple. I mean, you could look at BK Asia. Oh, no, I got that. Thank you very much, Steve. I got that. God, I got that like, I don't know how long ago. Like 20 minutes ago. Maybe you need to refresh or something. I don't know. Or maybe there's a lag. That'd be one hell of a lag. But thank you very much. That was a while ago. Hopefully there's not too much of a lag. I mean, yeah, anyway, getting back to Andy's question. Well, you can always ask me. You might be in another dimension. You're in the Twilight Zone right now. I don't know, but like maybe hit refresh, because it seems to be that I'm having problems with my internet on the laptop, but that doesn't mean that there'll be any lag on my phone because it's completely separate. I don't have to have the laptop on. I'm just do it for my own, to make it easier on me. And even that's fucking slow. Like I said, I keep saying I don't want to gripe about it. It's like BK-Asia. That's one site. There's I think it's Time Out Magazine. That's another. There's Coconuts. There you go. Good. There's a bunch of places, but you know, I don't want to say I know everything that's going on because I just don't have the energy to go to all the things that are happening all the time. But like, what is it? They're not going to do I found out that in February, you know, it's the Chinese New Year. They're not going to do they're not going to have like the lion dance and all that kind of stuff, which I don't know what that means. As far as how far are they going to go during Chinese New Year's, you know, is it just going to be like another day in Chinatown, or what are they going to be doing? So maybe I'll have to head down there. I don't know. That's if I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing, because there's a host of places that I want to go. Pattaya, Phuket. What's the other? Nakhon Phanom. The wife wants to go to Chiang Mai. You know, so there's always stuff to do, man. All right, the refresh. It's good. Okay, I'll check them out. I've already seen the main tourist places. Yeah, I mean, listen. It really depends on what you want to do. I know you're adventurous, and there's places you want to go. Have you been to places like called Kret in the middle of the Chao Phraya, or what's the name of that? What the hell is it? The Green Lung. It's also an island in the middle of the Chao Phraya. You can do that. You know, maybe we could take the electric boat on the Chao Phraya or something, go get something to eat or something. I don't know, you know. It will be interesting to see how many people start playing it now that the UK is stopping the crazy stuff. Yeah, I want to see what effect that has on other countries. Let's see here. Let me see. You know, there's always stuff going on at little places. They always have little attractions, like, you know, they'll have some little art exhibit or some photo exhibit or whatever. And this one right now I'm looking at, this is all, Time Out is all over the world, but they do have Bangkok in here. I really like this Time Out site. UK is the first crack in the ice. Well, no results for Bangkok? What the hell? Here we go. Bangkok. See, I mean, here, let me give you a link. I'll give you a link to this right now. Yeah, I mean, I've done that before. It's been a long time, but, you know, they still do them. There is something I'd like to do, and I'll tell you that later, Andy. I don't know if they're still doing it, the one thing that I want to do, but let's see here. Oh, this weekend. This month. How about this? Well, I'll say this month, even though next month, but... well, they don't have anything on that list. I'll have to send this one to Chucky. 12 exciting Thai boys love shows for release in 2022. Anyway, things to do. Here we go. See, they don't have any, like, this is not, this site, they don't really have anything up to the second of where you go, like what's happening tomorrow, you know? It's not really like that. It's like things to do in the Ari area, which is, you know, known to be a very cool area. It's actually an area where Chucky actually stayed for a while, or close by. Some cool cafes over there. Anyway, lots of cool stuff to do. We always say that. It's Bangkok. What do you want? There's always stuff to do here. I have a little surprise in one of the videos coming up. You guys might get a little chuckle out of it, if you know what I mean. You might get a laugh out of it. When Chuck and I were at the coffee shop the other day, the La Mesa coffee shop, I'll be putting together a video about that, so you guys might like that. I don't know. Anyway, there'll be another one. I think there'll be another one this Wednesday. I'll be at another one. I don't know if he'll be with me, but perhaps. So that about wraps it up. That's long enough today. 3 hours. We're at the limit. 3 hours. So all I got left to say is thank you for watching. Please continue to watch the videos. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check down in the description, get a t-shirt, get a book. Use the PayPal, the Cash App, the Patreon, the whatever. It doesn't really matter. There's a buy me a coffee. That's always great. But whatever, just keep watching. I appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. And yeah, take it easy. Things seem to be getting better here, so thumbs up, Choke D, Leo Jerkan Mai, and all that good stuff. I will talk to you guys. I'll see you when I see you, all right? Later. Steve, get out of the Twilight Zone. Come back to the real world now. Later, guys.